What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again with another 90-day fiance video, and this one is all about Bilal's mother and her meeting with Shaeeda. But before we get into it, let's start off by giving a big massive shout out to every single person that is a member of the channel, every single person that is a member or patron, where I have legit just dropped episode 2 of 90-Day Fiancé UK season 1. So go check it out. And also let's give a shout out to every single person that is a subscriber as we continue to grow. Now with that being said, let's get into this scene right here from the most recent episode of 90-Day Fiancé season 9 episode 15, where Bilal's mother flat out manipulated Shaeeda into taking the prenup. And yeah, let's get into it.
How have things been with you and Bilal?
It's been a roller coaster. You know, it's been a roller coaster. We have our ups, we have our down moments, and I just wish we could come to a place where we are more at peace. You have a lot of experience when it comes to marriage. You was married to Bilal God for a lifetime, and I know there's no such thing as a perfect marriage, but you guys have spent so much time together.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I want to be married for a very long time.
Well, I think you're on the right path when you realize that marriage is not perfect. It's two imperfect human beings holding on to each other and not letting go.
That type of relationship, I know, is something that doesn't come overnight. Like, you know, the relationship you and your husband had. And that's the type of relationship, like, it's always been my ideal relationship as well. You know, Bilal do have those qualities, but at the same time, I feel like part of that, you know, that business persona that he has is, you know, it's in our relationship. Because I'm from the old school, you know, when you're married, you're married. You don't really, like, you don't protect yourself because you don't look at your partner like a suspect.
I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, but are we talking about this prenup?
Yes, we're talking about the prenup.
Okay. You're feeling that.
At this point right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the point the manipulation began. Because really and truly, I want you to identify, first and foremost, how much Bilal and his mother would look a lot alike. But I want you to identify some of the facial expressions that she gives that are similar to Bilal. Not that they are massively relevant, but they will help you really notice even more how manipulative that she's being, based on also why Bilal is the way he is. But also at the same time, though, I want you to pay attention to the things that she says and how they are pretty much word for word, to a certain degree, what Bilal has been saying. Difference is she's got the more of a mature touch, more of the I've been doing this for a long time touch. Bilal's obviously, you know, I mean, look at it this way. Women are better with words than men. And that is just the grand scheme of everything that she says next is legit what Bilal's been saying. It's just that she's got the woman's touch towards it, which is why let's just continue, and it's about to go down.
Prenup is saying you don't trust me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. When you come into an agreement, Allah teaches us to put it in writing.
True.
So it's not necessarily a lack of trust.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trust, what does trust really mean? It means different things to different people. Some people will say, I will trust you until you show me that I can't trust you.
Okay.
Some people will say, you have to show me before I can trust you. Neither way is right or wrong. It's just how that person feels. With Bilal, it took him a very long time to open up his heart because he had been hurt. To let you in, and by that, some of the fears of leading. So these are triggers. Allah has put the male as the head of the family. And he leads, and we follow. But there's ways that we can lead from behind. But you always leave him with his manhood. The male is sometimes maybe not as tactful, but when you're in that leadership position, it's not a dictator. So I have tried to teach all of my sons to be strong, but yet tender. But the back and forth, going back and forth, if it gets to that, you know, there's no winners. We have to learn that being right is not the most important thing. Will it matter 5 years from now? Well, I want peace and comfort. If you know you have a good man, figure out how to make it work and bring in the peace.
So just notice the words that were used here bit by bit. The matter of the fact is, Bilal's mother is flat out saying that you need to become submissive. And to be fair, we can arguably say that she already is submissive at least 90%, maybe even 95%. Because even when she puts her foot down, it's only half-heartedly putting her foot down. And even when she puts her foot down, she always finds a way to backtrack on herself. And at the end of the day, everything that Bilal's mother was saying is exactly what Bilal's been saying. And also notice how whenever Shaeeda tries to have a conversation with Bilal, he will first allow her to say what she's got to say, but then his reply will always be a long-winded lecture. Notice how his mother done the same thing. Not as long as Bilal, but it was obviously a lecture of saying this, this, and that. But the goal was to make sure that it ends up on Bilal's side. When Bilal speaks, it's all about making sure that it's on his side. When his mother spoke, it was all about making sure that it was on her son's side. And it is very evident because she even speaks about how she raised her boys in a certain way. But one of the words that she used that was quite interesting was the word tender. I don't know where she put the tender in Bilal, but Bilal has no tender. Because with Bilal, it's straight out just me. So the tender part is a bit confusing because Bilal hasn't necessarily been open for compromises. He's been open to listen, but his replies have always been a lecture. Always been a lecture on how things should be flipped to his favor. It's exactly the same thing that his mother did here, as you can see. And the goal is very simple. Bilal wants a submissive woman. His mother has pretty much just said, listen, sometimes if you've got a good man and you want to make it work, you've got to do what you got to do to make it work. And that is by becoming what? Submissive. Well, at least if you want to be with Bilal. And that's why she even brings in the whole religion. Bilal's another one. Always brings in religion and faith. So does Shaeeda too. They always bring it in. His mother also brought it in too. And Bilal always brings it into his favor. Bilal's mother just brought it in into Bilal's favor. Talking about the man is the one that's always the leader. That is what has been put in front of us. The woman just leads from behind. It's interesting though, but I really do wonder what leadership skills that the mother must have to be fair from behind. Because it seems to me as if she made a pact or a plan years ago to be submissive to Bilal's father. And she's now expecting the same woman to come into his life and do the same thing. Now, obviously, at the same time, Bilal was married to a woman before, but the problem was that it didn't work out that way in the end. So if you ask me personally, I think that it has been a mission for Bilal. It's also been a mission for his mother, for them to find a woman who was going to come into his life and be submissive. Because at the end of the day, why else would she raise a son who's now already had not one, but 2 divorces? And I believe this is now going to be his 3rd marriage. Or it's going to be his 4th marriage. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 3rd marriage. You would think, based on what she's saying, she should have raised her son to not make certain errors of 2 marriages. But if you ask me, those 2 marriages probably haven't worked because of the submissiveness not being a thing. And it's very evident that Bilal is all about control. And it's very evident that his mother is all about giving him the control too. And make sure that he gets what he deserves. And that is a woman that's always going to be submissive. And that is probably why the relationship hasn't worked in the past. And that's why it is very crucial, very, very crucial for Bilal to make sure that this relationship is more like a business transaction rather than it be an actual relationship based on love, because he's been hurt in the past. His mom also, when she's speaking, and when she was talking to Shaeeda there, she wasn't talking about the fact of how you feel for my son or how my son feels for you. It's about doing the right thing for my son so you can stay in a relationship with my son. Another way of just saying business transaction. Like I said before, the difference between Bilal and his mother is that she's got the woman's touch when it comes to speaking. Women are predominantly better at words than men. Men are a bit more, slightly more straightforward or slightly more aggressive or slightly something else. Bilal is obviously giving us that slightly more narcissistic way. That slightly more, I'm looking down on you, I'm speaking down to you type attitude. And then obviously later on in the episode, Shaeeda says, I want to start a prenup. Bilal's over the moon. But still has something to moan about. Nonetheless though, let me know what you think about my own analysis of Bilal's mother's manipulation towards Shaeeda to make sure that she does end up signing a prenup, which she did. And also most importantly, to make sure that she understands that to be with her son, she's basically going to have to be submissive, because at the end of the day, it's not about always being right. It's just always about making sure that, well, if you want to keep a good man, you just got to do what the good man wants you to do. And that is basically what she was saying there. God damn. Like, subscribe, peace.